And here we go. Literas per lectus. Lectus means having read, and per usually means thoroughly, having read through it. This is the ablative absolute to start off with. So, with the letters read, Domitius, our nominative, dissimilans is a present participle nominative going in apposition with Domitus. So he's making a pretense in counselo. He's having a counsel here about the war. And he pronounced or announced Pompey, Celator, quickly, Venturum would be coming, subsidio, as a help. This is probably a dative of purpose or something, or it could be just a ablative. Pompey will be coming quickly with a subsidio, with a help. Qui, and hortator, and he was encouraging Eos, his men, who were in the council. Ne deficient, this is a command. Don't be deficient in animo, in heart, in spirit, in courage, or don't be lacking in heart. Quaequi, and which things are usai, this is a dative for sure. Anything that would be useful, ad defendum, oppidum, for the defending of the town, or for defending the town. They just this would have to be a gerundive. Sint parent, so that they should prepare, they being the sint, and parent, the nt means plural. They should prepare for anything that can be useful for defending the town. Ipsi, so Domitus Ipsi himself, Arcano, this is a secret thing going on, with Porcus familiaribus suis, with a few of his familiars, with a few of his close friends, or the people who are in this council. He colloquited with them. Loquitur means he spoke with them, calls collectively, so in an arcane situation. So in secret, he spoke with a few of his friends. They could be his counsellors, and a concilium, fugae capere constituit. So he decided, he constituted, taking the infinitive, to take a plan, a concilium, or to make a plan of flight, or a plan in which he would flee. Cum vultus, when he's bearing or appearance, he's vultus, he's a look on his face, of Domitius, genitive. Cum oration, with his words, with his oration, with his speech, was non-consentierant. Wish I could speak Latin better. These didn't go together. So look on his face and the words he was saying didn't agree, basically. And omnia trepidantius, this is comparative, and he was rather more trepidatious or fearful, and timidius, another comparative. And so omnia, everything was more fearful and afraid. Agaret, that's how he was conducting himself. So he was agaretting everything with more trepidation and fear, quam, than superioribus debus, than in the superior days, the earlier days. Consuesset, in which he had been accustomed. Consuesset, just another, we have a prefix and a verb. Multum qui cum suis concilianda causa secreto. So he was having much with his own people, suis his people, of these councils, of these plannings. That's a genitive of a gerund. So we have causa, which is behind the genitive. We have prefixes and we have postfixes, I suppose you might call them positives usually, but the proper word is a post-positive or post-position. Okay, so he's more fearful than he was accustomed to in his earlier days, and he was having many councils with suis, with his own people, secreto, in secret, praetor, besides his constitutionem, which is accusative third declension. We have colloquitur again, so which means he was talking in secret, out of custom, and concilia conventusque, okay? You can tell this is from the conventus that this councillor is not ablative. So any councils and assemblies conventus, hominum of man, he was figurating it. So he's fleeing from having councils and being in groups of man. Res diutus, this here is another comparative, meaning for a rather long time. And so the res, the matter, tegai, to be covered, dissimilari qui, and he was non-potuit. He was not able to make an pretense or to dissimulate a way of covering the matter or the circumstances anymore for any longer of a time. And we'll have a daily dictionary word of consentio, fourth conjugation, top 1,000 words. In agreement, harmony. So his face and his words were not of the same mind and the same agreement or in the same feeling. They didn't look the same. Okay. Pompeius, Pompey, enim. For Pompey had rescripturated. He had written back to him. Se, rem in summum periculum deductorum non esse. Okay, so what he's saying here is into the height of danger, basically, summum periculum, nequi suo. This was not by his plan or his arrangement or by his will, voluntate, that Domitian, say himself, ind opidum confuniam contulice. So what he's saying is Domitius has contuliced himself. He's taken himself into the town of Corfinium, and this was not by Pompey's planning or by his will, and he was leading the matter into the height of danger. And so Pompey's letter goes pro indi. So then, see if, qua, by which, facultas. If there's any facultas, any way, any means, fuesset, that there is, ad si, to him, with omnibus copius, with all his troops, veneret, come. Because he had said he was not going to be deductorum, which is a future. He didn't want this ram the matter to be led into the height of danger, and without his instructions, he'd actually gone to this town, pro indi. So then if there was any means possible, any faculty, any facility way of getting there, come to Pompeii with all your troops. Idni fieri posset. So this, ne posset, was not able to be done. Fieri means to be done. He could have also, instead of ne posset, he could have also just used nequio or something. Obsidione atqui opidi circummuniation fiabat. So, and fiabat was the imperfect version, so this couldn't be done because of this the blockade, the obsidian. This is when you are trying to take a city, and the circummunition of the oppidum, which means the town was surrounded and there was fortified munition around the town. So, yeah, the town was under attack, so he couldn't actually come with omnibus scopus. Divulgato domiti concili. So with the concili, with the plan divulged, made common, the common people are vulgatos. So with the plan of Domitius, made common throughout the militares, the soldiers, qui erant confinium, who were at confinium, prima vesperis, at the first bit of vespers, the first bit of twilight, they faciunted, they made a succession, a separation, which would be a bit of a rebellion. Atqui ita, and thus or so inter se, amongst themselves, per the tribunes militum, through the tribunes of the soldiery, centuriones qui, and the centurions, and the honestissimos, the most honoured, that's a superlative. So the most respected, suis generis, of their rank. Genus means type or rank. Colunquated, so they had a go-betweens for their conversations through their tribunes and their centurions and the most respected people. Obsidere se Caesare. So it says we're being besieged by Caesar. The opera and munitions, the works and the fortifications, prope esse perfectas. Prope means near, so it's near completed, near perfected, his fortifications, etc. Ducem suum Domitium, this is in the accusative, so it's just saying the leader is Domitius, suum just means it's reflective, it's their own. Cuis, of whose, spe, in hope, atqui fiducia, which is a trust or loyalty, so that in him that had hope and loyalty, and they had permansered, they had remained with their leader Domitian. Proiectus omnibus fugae concilium capere. So this will be talking about the leader is taking a plan of flight, fugae, and proiectus omnibus. So from everyone, he is going to be pro means forwards, and iectus is he's planning on leaving, basically. It's a nice way of saying he's about to desert us. Debere se sua salutus rationem habere. So it just means debere habere. So they ought, taking the infinitive again. This is a reported speech of what's going on between them. So they ought to have a ration, some plan, sua salutis, of their own safety, or the debere say, to take for themselves a plan for their own safety. Ab his, from these things, primo in the first place, the Marsi incupiunt, they began dissentere. This is related to the other word we looked at in the Daily Dictionary of consentere. So the Marsi began to disagree from this plan that was going on in the intermediaries in the beginning, primo, and eam opidai partem. So eam and partem would be going together, and so in this part, opidai of the town, quae, which munitissima videritor, which seemed most fortified. That's another superlative. So the part of the town which was seemed most fortified, they occupied. They took their positions there. Tantaque, and such inter eos, amongst them, dissentio existed. Existed just means was produced or existed. And so such dissension was there, existing inter eos, between them, ut. So tanta ut are the correlatives. Such dissension was there that conentur, they tried to conserere manum. So they tried to cast their hands upon each other and to demarcare, or to fight armis, with arms. So there was a massive dissension. They wanted to take the most fortified place, and they wanted to start fighting each other. Post Paulo, after a little, Tamen, nevertheless, after a while, internuntias, with messages going between, ultro citraque, ultro and citra means here and there, missus, so missus internuntias, with the intermediary messages being sent here and there, ultro and cisco, quae ignorabant, which things of they were ignorant about, de fuga, concerning the flight of this genitive of L. Domitius. So they've been wanting to get out and have a fight. A little after, through our messages going here and there, they found out about the flight of cognoscont. They got to know about the flight of Domitius, of which they had been ignorant. They didn't know about. Itaque, and so omnes, everyone, uno concilio, was of one plan, one mind, one resolution. Productum Domitium. Productum, again, it's the T and S words are indications that it comes from the supine, so it's perfect. So with Domitius having been producted or led forward, ductum pro, in publica, circumsistunt. You can see from the NT that this is omnes. They are the ones who are standing circum around, with Domitius produced in public, and custodiunt, again, this is plural. So they took him into custody. Legatosque, and legatos, exo numero, from their number, mitiunt, they sent ad Caesarem, to Caesar. So the message went to Caesar that se paratos esse, that they, se were paratos, prepared, apure, to open the porters, the gates, quaque, and whatever imperaverit, and whatever Caesar had ordered, whatever was ordered, facere, they would do. So, quaque, whatever is ordered, these things, qua, which they would do, and L. Domitium vivum, so this is apposition in the accusative. So the living Domitius, tradere, they would hand over into eos potestati, into his power, or into the power of him. Potestati is looking as if it's a I stem. So we had in this reported speech, apere, facere, and tradere is the infinitives. Okay, 21a. So this tradere takes a dative, so for some reason that potestati is actually not an I stem, it's a dative. Anyway, quibus rebus cognitus, Caesar. So Caesar, with these things known, etsi, although Magni interesse, which is interest, which usually means a difference. Arbitrabator. So Caesar was arbitrating. He was thinking that although it would be a great difference or something great importance, quam primum, as soon as possible, potere the oppido, to obtain the town, take possession of the town. Potere, taking it in this case for the oppidum, which is a neuter. And the cohorts, add say, to himself, traducere, to lead them to himself in castra, in the camp. Nay, qua aut larginibus aut enemi confirmation. So, unless there be something, so either with largesses, bestowings of bribes, unless that by bribes or a strengthening of mind, or by falsus nuntius, by false rumours or reports, fieret, there might become a commutatio voluntatis, a changing of their will, of their desires. Quod, which sapi often in bello, in war, parvis momentous, in small moments, parvis momentous, they intercederant, and make magni casus, which is a great cases. So often what happens in war, in small moments of war, these intercedents of bribery or changing of your will, either through suddenly getting confirmation, which is a strengthening of their spirits, or by false messages. This will make a magnus casus, a great change. Nearly done. Tamen veritus. Nevertheless, veritus, he was afraid. This, again, T and S means it comes from the supine version. This is a deponent. So nevertheless, he was afraid. Nay, with verbs of fearing. Nay and ut are inverted. So he was fearing that introitu. So this is the ablative form of in entering of the soldiers. He was fearing that when the soldiers entered, and nocturni temporis, and because it was night time, basically, they'll be entering and it was night time, licentia oppidum riparitor, so that they were, with this licentiousness, with they might decide that they would pillage the oppidum, pillage the town. So he was fearing that if your soldiers entered the town, due to the fact being night time, you might be able to control them, and they might just use license to attack the town. And so eos qui venerat, those who would come, colaud at it. He praised them. Col just means together usually. Laudat is to praise them and say good things. And he demitted them into the oppidum, and he sent them back into the town. Portus and muros qui ad servara ubit. And so we have, and he ordered to protect the gates and walls.